Hello, my name is Gaius. I live in Willowdale. If you live here, then you're probably not happy about this guy. His party's policies allowed rampant drugs, crime, and unaffordable homes and food. For Iranians, his party delayed in labeling the IRGC as a terrorist organization after promising to do so. The good news is, Ali Asasi may not win the next election. The bad news is, this guy has a good chance of winning. There is a good chance he will win because of how well conservatives are polling. So who is this guy? His name is Weidong Pei. He was elected trustee in late October 2022. 7 months into the job, he meets the person who is on the conservative candidate selection committee. 10 months into the job as an elected trustee, he registered his website for his conservative nomination. Aside from the obvious intent to misuse the school board to run for another office based on these 2 dates, here is some more evidence. No member of the board shall use the influence of his or her office for any purpose other than for the exercise of his or her official duties. No member of the board shall use the facilities, equipment, supplies, services, or other resources of the board, including newsletters, social media sites, and websites. Contact information including email addresses obtained as a result of the member's performance of his or her duties as a trustee for any election campaign or campaign-related activities. He has compiled a WeChat group of only Chinese people, some of which are parents in Willowdale, using his influence as a trustee. He will then invite them to non-TDD-related seminars and debate, and switch to talk about his conservative nomination. When asked about conflicts of interest and why he is running for another position only after 1 year as a trustee, his friend jumped in to save him by saying this. Furthermore, this Harry, who I discovered is from Toronto Asian Parent Association, says they will replace Weidong with someone from their organization. Weidong himself did not directly address these questions, which is his typical modus operandi. More on this later. He went on to take credit for portable schools, which is something the MPP stand show did most of the work. You will see he has 499 people in his WeChat group. While it is true that some are parents, many do not live in Willowdale, and some don't even live in Canada. He also kicks out anyone who offers criticism, like this Chinese parent who sent me this screenshot which criticizes his poor communication skill. At Conservative Party events, sources familiar with his conduct say he goes around showing all of the so-called support he has in his WeChat groups. This is a big bluff, as I mentioned earlier. His WeChat group does not translate into votes. In fact, another group he started was disbanded because people quickly realized he was trying to buy votes. Here is an older message from that group. Weidong Pei spent $1,000 buying door stickers for everyone in an area under the guise of a community safety group. It looks innocent on the surface, but it is a way of buying votes. It is also a way for him to identify potential supporters for his nomination campaign. But let's get back to the topic of him exploiting the TDD. This event was made especially for his neighborhood group, aka a vote farm. It's a topic on safety. Strange because the councillor Lily Cheng just hosted one with the same officers on the same week. The presenter, Officer Koskarov, was upset and only read from a standard job description of his patrol. He was not given the topic beforehand. He likely knew that this was for Weidong's campaign and a rally. This is a prime example of his bait and switch. His abuse of the TDD trustee position. People come expecting to hear about issues pertaining to the school. But when they arrive, the topic is switched to supporting him for his nomination. This event was held in his house, listed as a Toronto District School Board event. You can see under the clipboard that there are Conservative Party of Canada membership forms. You can see the rest of the sign-in sheet with the names, email, and phone number of the unsuspecting parents. I have crossed them out to protect their privacy. Now I will show a clip of him attempting to say something. Can you imagine this caliber representing Willowdale in the House of Commons?
So Trustee,
please do not, I would against to move this session to private.
From the Associate Director.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I don't think the staff really provide answer related to my motion at all. Because the staff said, okay, they do the research by hiring a temporary staff on hourly wages, and then they approve the report.
Sorry.
Notice how he keeps looking down on his phone. That's because his group at the Save Our Schools TDD is feeding him the answers. It is a strange twist of irony that he supports the ban of cell phones and blames video games for attention deficit, yet he can't keep his eyes off his phone in a meeting. Attention deficit or being fed answers on how to do his job. I expected our elected officials to be better role models. Now watch him complain about the trustee reports being too long and tiresome to read. The Chinese expression, vomit blood, is used to describe how he feels towards his elected office. Furthermore, he claims to have a hard time understanding the reports.
你要读那 report 是一读就100多页，连续3天让你读3个 report， 每个都100多页，你说你是不是要吐血？是吧？读完了你还要问问题，你有时候看不懂啊，是吧？你要问问题来回来去。
Don't try to ask him tough questions, as he will just run away or get someone else to answer them when he isn't being fed answers. This is his modus operandi. Now, let's take a detour and dig up a relic from the past. Remember the Confucius Institute? The TDD cut relationships with them after credible allegations of Chinese Communist Party influence being passed on to the Canadian students in this program. So even back in the early 2010s, foreign influence targeted the school boards. Many parents supported the Confucius program because it had an excellent guise of valuing education and traditional family values, which are values of Confucius. A decade later, we have this association. They are heavily involved in the activities of this next group. Save Our Schools TDD is an organization I support because they want to push back against the lottery system and the woke garbage indoctrinating our kids. Unfortunately, they are either hijacked or willingly turning a blind eye to the misconduct of Weidong Pei, in addition to his questionable connections and circumstances. What does this have to do with foreign influence? There is a probable chance that foreign influence could be targeting the TDD again, this time under the guise of an otherwise great cause of fighting against the woke school boards. Enter Vincent Key. Who is he? A former MPP with the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, who allegedly received money from the Communist Party consulate. Chinese parents who unknowingly helped his campaign allege that they were given money by his team to be donated back to his campaign. This is illegal under Elections Canada law if true and is in line with allegations of him receiving money from the consulate. Former Weidong Pei supporters claim that he bragged about being introduced to run in Willowdale as a trustee by Vincent Key and the former Ontario Conservative riding Don Valley North president Christina Liu. Here is a picture of the three in a Chinese publication discussing matters on the anniversary of the Chinese head tax and anti-Asian racism. On the surface, this is a good cause. Racism doesn't make sense in Canada. We are all immigrants. However, there are people like this senator who arguably uses anti-racism as a shield against legitimate criticism for his alleged ties and dealings to the Chinese Communist Party. Was this meeting a preemptive move by Vincent Key and his friends to set up plausible deniability for foreign interference? This meeting happened a few days before Globe and Mail reported on the alleged interference. If Weidong's connections with Vincent Key have anything to do with foreign interference, then it is truly frightening that the foreign agents are finding ways to infiltrate our government by supporting otherwise legitimate causes. Well-meaning members of the Toronto Asian Parent Association and Save Our Schools TDD may be unknowingly used to further the goals of foreign interference. Former close supporters also alleged with proof that he flew to China in the month of February while lying to his supporters about still being in Canada. Flying to a foreign country is normal, but why lie about it? It is a shame that this diaspora has had more bad representation over good ones. Where are the Michael Chongs of this diaspora? He is an example of a principled politician, a skilled speaker, and an intellectual. There are also allegations that this man ran into trouble with domestic issues involving his spouse. Sources familiar with him said that these domestic issues were the reason for his divorce several years ago. Lastly, there are old Chinese articles which indicate that Weidong Pei, the chairman of an organization that has strong ties with the Chinese Communist Party. They received funding and worked directly with the Chinese consulate. Unfortunately, many innocent people unknowingly helped Weidong in his campaign and the organizations that he is involved with, without knowing his suspicious connections, questionable past, and corrupt behavior. Some know this and still willingly help him. They are complicit in his activities. If you are one of them, then you know who you are. If we elect Weidong, not only are we giving him a pass on his inexcusable flaws, we will also incur a cost to replace him in the by-election, which will cost taxpayers over $100,000. He is not worth the cost. He is not worth the corruption. And he is not worth the vote